Hello, and welcome to lesson number 3. And today, we're going to talk about the 5 important factors that every WordPress SEO needs. Today, we'll have a quick overview of the 5 factors, and then, of course, the next few videos will dive into every single one of these factors. But before we can really discuss them in depth, you need to have a broader bird's eye view of them. So, before we jump into the 5 factors that your WordPress site should have, or even your non-WordPress site should have, as they'll definitely work on those too, it's important to know a few things first. The first thing is you need to have a general idea of your main keyword, the one you're going to rank on. And number 2, you need to have a list of specific keywords that branch off of that main keyword. Now, don't worry if you don't have that now, as I'm going to give you step-by-step techniques to help you figure that out. Now, another thing I want to mention here is in general, a lot of people commit this big mistake of implementing these 5 factors without a clear plan of attack. And that's why I'm breaking things down for you and dedicated the whole lesson for it. There's a reason for everything, you know. So remember, if there's no clear plan, and the website owner simply creates content in an area with little or no traffic, and then they're not ranking on any specific keyword, it's just them to blame. While committing this mistake, they might even be ranking on keywords that have really nothing to do with their website. And this is a lot of time wasted traffic, right? So, that's why I'm not jumping straight into details first, and instead, breaking things down so that it becomes clear and you can see the plan from bird's view. So, you will have a better chance to succeed. Now, we're not going to focus, like I said, on keyword research, but we do recommend that you check out the suggested keywords. Where can you find suggested keywords? Well, Google has what we call suggested keywords embedded into their search. Amazon.com also has a list of suggested keywords. This is super easy feature. You can literally find the main keyword and a list of specific keywords within a few seconds with this system. So here's what I want you to do. You can do this by going to Google, for example, and typing in your general keyword. So you'll notice that when you do a search, Google will suggest keywords. Now, in order for the keywords to appear in the suggested box, the keywords should be gone through a ton of search for those keywords. So, in other words, as a high volume of people searching for this keyword, when I type in the same keywords, for example, let me search for survival kit. Then I get other Google suggested keywords like survival kit lists, ideas, survival kit Amazon, food, and backpack. Now, there's another way of doing this. If you type in the keyword and you press enter, then what's going to happen when you scroll all the way down to the very bottom, you're going to see a list of words. So if you scroll all the way down the bottom after you made that search, you're going to find additional keywords right here. As you can see, these are additional keywords, things like military survival kits, survival kit list, best survival kit food, items, etc. As you notice, these are not only different keywords to the search we've made, but here we find out also different types of survival kits for different scenarios and different settings, so that gives us an idea. These are ideas on what we can write an article about when choosing a topic on survival kits, or military survival kits, or wilderness survival kits. So these could be totally different articles. So, now that you have a basic understanding of basic keyword research, let's move on to our 5 important factors. These are number 1, the URL structure, which includes the domain name and the category name, the file name, even the page name. These are part of one URL, as this is what shows up in the address bar at the very top. Whenever you go to any website, you see the domain name, right? Then the page name, and all that in the search bar at the top where the URL is. That is the URL structure. Now, the URL structure is very important because it tells Google and other search engines if you are a brand or you are targeting a specific keyword or what is your website is about. And that's just one element of the 5 factors. There's a lot of other elements as well. Number 2, we have the body tag structure, which contains basically everything on your post or your page. In terms of content, so this contains both written text that you use in your posts and pages, and there's more than just slapping a bunch of content for everyone to see. There's a lot that goes into this. Don't worry about it for now, as we're going to show you and break things down for you later on in this course. So, you have a better idea of what you should include in your body tag structure. Number 3, we have image optimization. What this means is you'll be making your images more search engine friendly. So just like body text, when it comes to images, Google and other search engines, they are not going to know right off the bat what these images are. So you need to do your best to help them figure out what the images are all about. Now, there are ways that Google will figure out eventually what your images are all about. So don't try to game the system. For example, if you name an image, let's say a military survival kit, the way they figure out if that image is legit or not is oftentimes they'll rank you in the Google image search engine. If somebody types in, let's say, military survival kit, and people see your image and they click on that image, then Google have a better idea of your image. So, don't try to game the system in naming image something that it's not. Name it what it is, so when somebody looks for the image, they're going to find it and they're going to click on it, and that will show search engines you're honest and it is going to help you in the long run. In fact, beyond that, there's a few more steps you'll need to take, apart from just name it right. Also, remember image search engine could be great, as you can actually get a lot of traffic from that search engine, but we will talk about it later on. And of course, we have factor number 4, which is title optimization. Basically, it's about how to make your title search engine friendly, because the reality is that your titles do show up in the search engine. So you definitely need to do this right. Otherwise, you're going to attract the wrong person. Number 5 is meta optimization, and it is the same thing here. Metadata that will show up underneath the title in the search engines need to be optimized too. So you want to make sure that you attract the right traffic. Now, we talked about the 5 important factors here in brief. Next, let's dive into every single one of these 5 factors in more depth.